Hello and welcome to another episode of Anchoring Hope, where we're shining the light by interviewing people that are really making this world a better place within their positions in the marketplace. And today we have with us Chad Weibel. Chad, welcome to the show.
Hey, great to be with you.
Chad, did I say your name properly?
You certainly did. I appreciate that too. When I was in college, David, I used to get all kinds of pronunciations of Weibel, but Wobble is the most profound one. It seems like that's a Northeast kind of thing, so I appreciate you getting that correct.
It was the grace of the Lord.
Amen.
I used to catch Chad. So Chad, can you tell me, where do you live and what do you do for a living?
I am the Chief President and Chief Executive Officer of Advanced Behavioral Health, which is a behavioral health company that manages, administrates, and is the fiduciary for several state and federal contracts.
So what nature are the contracts that you're managing?
Most of the contracts are dealing with, mental health and addiction and services for those in need that the state has to take care of, and they can't take care of all that on their own. So they put those out to bid to companies like us, and we win the state contracts to either administer a grant or, be the fiduciary for a grant, or to do some level of care management, case management, social work, or behavioral health related services. The wonderful thing about us is we do so many different things to help people in need across the state of Connecticut in particular, which is where we're located. And it's wonderful to have such a breadth of services, from helping, foster kids get from place to place through transportation, or multi-systemic therapy for kids in need, early childhood development programs that we have, what's called REP payee programs, or programs where we manage the money for those that are disabled or less fortunate. We help the state with that. And then we do some traditional case management and care management for the state. We also have a pretty large employee assistance program where we contract with employers all over the country, but specifically now here in the Northeast and in Connecticut, to do their crisis management and to augment the work that they do in HR.
That's amazing, Chad. That you must feel amazing every time you wake up and get to go to work, knowing that you really are making a difference, right?
Well, we pride ourselves on community impact. Community impact is what we talk about. I mean, I've just been here for just under a year, and it's complex when you have this many contracts. There's a level of certain complexity, but there's a joy that comes with it in terms of all of the great work that we're doing in each one of our individual programs. And one thing that I'm trying to do is bring a spirit of the totality of community impact that we make across all of our programs and services, so that we can demonstrate to our people, but also our clients and others as we grow and develop, that we're not only out there doing sort of God's work in a lot of ways, and helping those that are in need, but we're also trying to improve day by day, week by week, month by month, year over year.
That is amazing. Now, I imagine that in your industry, there's got to be companies that are just focus on one specific type of contract, but you guys are multidisciplinary, right?
We are. That's kind of our secret sauce and differentiator, and I am appreciative of the group of hospitals and I'll call them social service and behavioral health companies that sort of got together back in the late 90s when we were founded, and sort of created advanced behavioral health. Now, we've evolved through the years from that, but they really saw something of importance to have a company that can be so multidimensional, that can address so many different things. And therefore we tend to pride ourselves on creativity and innovation and being nimble in how we provide our services.
So Chad, was the organization built by Christian people, or does it have like a Christian background, or is agnostic?
We actually don't have a Christian background. Myself personally, I come from Catholic healthcare. I spent most of my life in Catholic healthcare, so I appreciate faith-based organizations. We are not a faith-based organization. The spirit of our work, I always used to say, whether you're faith-based or not, when you get really sick and you're in the hospital, people tend to find their faith really quickly. Whether it's in a faith-based organization or not, and so I have kind of been able to see that both from inside of a faith-based organization, as well as from the outside. I mean, our work here though is very much centered, like I said, around behavioral health and sort of social work, and counseling in many ways. So we see the best of the best and the worst of the worst on a daily basis.
It's gotta be incredible, Chad. And how did you get into that line of work? Because you said you came from a Catholic based organization, right?
Yeah. So I spent most of my career as a hospital health system administrator. Started in West Virginia, and then I joined a company called St. Mary's Health System in Waterbury, Connecticut, where I, after about 5 or 6 years of doing various administrative work there, became the president and CEO of that health system. And I was there for about 15 years at St. Mary's. That was a diocesan hospital, sponsored by the Archdiocese of Hartford. And my boss was the Archbishop of Hartford. And so I learned a lot about Catholic healthcare. I learned a lot about faith-based healthcare there. And then we merged our health system into Trinity Health, which is the national company. And I helped with that transition and became the chief operating officer of Trinity Health of New England, the regional enterprise. And then I left there and had some travels down to Dallas, Texas, and up to Boston, Massachusetts, with a couple health systems, and wanted to get back closer to my family and home. And a recruiter that I'd known through the years called me, and it seemed like a wonderful opportunity that allows me to spend time with my family and get a little balance in my life, and really still make a difference and have an impact on people. And that was important to me. And so that's how I got to where I am.
I was just reading the Bible yesterday, and I read that passage that said, if you abide in me, I will abide in you. And then my Father will give you the desires of your heart.
Yeah.
This is the real example, right? Like, you felt away from your family. You were making an impact in your previous job, but you really had that void because of your excessive travel. And the way that I understood that is like the Lord sent you a recruiter that got you back closer to your family is still making an impact, isn't it?
It could be that way for sure. I mean, there's divine intervention in some of these things, and some things are hard to explain. And I'm a religious and faithful person personally, and believe that God has a plan, and that must have been his plan, and here I am. And so I'm trying to make the most of the path I have in front of me.
It's beautiful, child. Psalm 139 says that the Lord wrote a book and made every page about our life before we were born. It's in Psalm 139. When I discovered that, I am like, now it's up to us if we want to leave those pages or not, because we have free will. So for example, for me, I was like the people of Israel, to cross the desert into the promised land. I think it's about 40 days. It took them 40 years because they wouldn't get it. So another round and
Yeah.
another round. So I actually was 30 years in the wilderness myself until I came to the will of God. Now I'm living every day based on that book that he wrote about me. And so when you live on that faith, it's beautiful because you know that it doesn't matter what comes your way. If you're surrendered to the Lord, you know that he's doing his will in your life. So it releases the stress.
Yeah, and at times things can be stressful. It's there's no question. There's a lot of stressful moments, and you have to be grounded in your beliefs and your faith, and that's what helps you sort of get through and move on. And I'm blessed with a family and faith, and I think it helps each day and each week to try to be a little better. It's we talk about as a company being better each day, each week, each month, and we ourselves have to be sort of living examples of that. And we fall down too, and that's part of the growth process.